Hello, I'm Lucy and I write the blog paperglitterglue.com, and I'm going to show you how to make this DIY haunted house, this little cardboard house that's just like a perfect display for Halloween or really any time. So it's just made out of cardboard. This is my interior, and I'm going to show you how to make it out of basically kind of recycled materials. First, I just found a regular cardboard box. I think this is a Chewy box. I get kitty food in it. This pattern is free on my blog. This is the shape for the roof. You do not have to do a roof in this shape, but I kind of like the curves. I think they're perfect for a Halloween house. And just kind of outline it. I folded it in half so I know where the midpoint is. And let me just kind of draw on the other side, just so, let me kind of show you. If you want to make just a regular house, mark this. Let's mark the midpoint. And just get your ruler. And that's the shape of a regular front, gable house with the gable in the front. But like I said, for a Halloween house, I really love these curves. So I used the pattern for that. The width of my house is 10 inches. I do that because I don't really want a huge house that's hard to store. 10 inches is pretty decent, and it's 15 inches tall. Let's draw a line in the middle. These are my side pieces. Let me move them for a second. Draw a line in the middle so I can decide about the doorway, and I'm not being very precise because, one, it's a haunted house, a Halloween house. You don't really need to. And then let's mark halfway where the floor will go, the ceiling for the first floor and the floor of the second floor. Should be 7.5. 7.5. Mark that one, 7.5. Let's draw a line there too. So this will be my floor that divides the two stories. Okay, and then on the pattern, I have some, you can also cut these out so you can see how big to cut out the windows. Now, you want it to be smaller than the outside dimension of the window, but larger than the inner dimension, so you don't really see the seams. So I'm just going to kind of line this up and trace it. Okay, so that's my oval window. I'll show you on the house. I like that window at the top. And then you decide how many windows you want in the bottom. The truth is, I don't like to do a lot of cutouts because I want to save my interior space for furniture. Like, I've got a fireplace and a little chaise lounge and what else? I've got a coffin clock. So anyway, I'm trying to save my interior space, so I'm actually not going to cut out the door. I'm just showing you where it goes. And I'm only going to cut out one window. So let's do a window. I'm going to do it kind of high so my furniture can fit underneath. Sort of center it between the door and the midpoint. Okay. So those are the pieces that's what I need for the front. And I can do the same thing on the side. Now remember, this is 10 inches wide and 15 inches high. But because this curve is not straight, it takes more space. So I cut out a piece about 5 inches wide and about 17 inches long. So let's mark our top spot where we want the curve to start. And I'm going to draw a line. And I am going to add a window on one of the sides. I'm not going to add it on both, again, because I want wall space for my decor, my interior design. So let me move my little house out of the way. Turn it so I can measure, line up the bottom piece, and draw where this line goes. And I'm going to draw a window. Do it at about the same height in the middle. I didn't precisely measure. Remember, it's a haunted house. We get to do what we want. All right, so those are the window cutouts and the main pieces. So let's cut out the pieces for the front piece, and then we'll do the side pieces. And I just use a regular craft knife just to cut through. And you actually don't have to be very precise because the edges are going to be covered up by the interior and exterior windows. So I kind of don't worry about that. All right, there's that window. And like I said, the pieces will cover it up. Okay, let's do this interior, this lower window, first floor window. It's kind of an old blade. It's much harder to cut with an old blade. Probably not as safe. Yeah, be careful with your X-Acto knife. Okay, so that's the window. Let's see, so the edges are covered up. And next, let's cut the curves on my haunted house. Okay, that's it. Now, if you're going to do something like wallpaper, now is the time to add the wallpaper because it's much easier to apply when there's not walls and stuff in the way. But I'm going to go ahead and show you how to tape the side pieces together and show you some tricks for that. Alrighty. So, this is one side piece. I've drawn a line here. I'm going to score along this line so it will bend to make the curve of my roof. This is the first starting point for the bend. And I use the back of my craft knife, the dull side of the craft knife, just to make my score line. And you can hold it, and there. Now we've got a good line. Okay, so you may wonder, how are you supposed to make this curve? Well, the corrugations, the lines, the glued cardboard, the support cardboard in the middle is in this direction, so it will easily curl. So I just kind of move my fingers down to make it curl. And I can do it in the opposite direction. Kind of use both thumbs. And let's see how it matches. So see, especially if you tape as you go, you can make it fit perfectly in that curve. Okay, I forgot to cut out this window. I'm going to cut out this window real quick. Come out. There we go. Alrighty. So I want it to fit perfectly on the side. So I'm going to match up the bottom edge. And then we'll fold it. All right, just to get it started, I'm going to add a piece of tape, and I'm going to leave a little room because I need it to fold. So normally I would do it on the outside, but I'm just going to get started on the inside because all of this will be covered up. I'm going to use wallpaper. I made some wallpaper with some stamps and embossing glaze. So let's see, just match up the bottom. Match up a piece here. And then we'll test it and make sure that it will fold into a 90-degree angle. Okay, that's good. So this is really just kind of my placeholder. I'm actually going to tape more on the outside. And I prime the outside with black primer, black gesso, because I'm going to cover it with siding. And I like, if any of it shows, I like the black to, I like it, the black to kind of function as a shadow. Okay, let's see how we're doing. We're doing good. Okay, I'm going to reinforce it a little bit more. The tape kind of messed up. There, that's right. Okay, let's see. Make sure, I have to make sure it's a 90-degree angle, and it will form that. All right, now, a little bit challenging. Tear some tape before we get started. So, you can hold it and tape it down. I hope you can see that. Hold it. And tape. And so, just like that, you've made the curve, and I still reinforce it some more. We'll have shingles on top that'll cover up these edges. Like I said, it'll be primed with black paint, and I've got shingles, so it's going to look good. Alrighty, what to do about the excess? I just fold it along one of these corrugations. And that's going to help form the roof. So we can tape this down too. And if your piece isn't long enough, then just cut a square to fit on top, or a little rectangle to make the top of the roof. All right, so that is how you do each side, and I'll do the other ones and add the wallpaper, and then I'll get back with you. Okay, let's tape up the other side of the house so I can show you the curve again. I've got my masking tape and the first part of the house done. Actually, let's put in some interior supports. Make sure it can fold at 90. And the bottom is matched up. Yes, that's good. Okay, I'm going to tape it a little bit better. And remember, I'm going to paint all the inside. So it looks like it's in shadow. So all the siding and wallpaper will cover this up. Okay. Now I'm going to turn it over and tape the outside. It's easier to start with the straight portion rather than the curved portion. Alrighty, let's work on the curve. Now I'm going to cover these raw seams so that you can't see the edge of the corrugated cardboard for our Haunted Dollhouse. Okay, I may put an extra layer of cardboard on the inside or outside of this to make the top stronger. And then right now I'm going to prime it so I can put the floors in. And this is my plan. This is the ceiling for the first floor. And here, and this is going to be the bottom piece. So I want to prime it before I tape all this stuff in. So I'll be back in a moment. Okay, now that the main structure, or most of the structure of the little Haunted Dollhouse is done, I'm going to add some wallpaper. So I actually glued it onto a piece of cardboard that fits, just because I wanted to make it easier for the video, but you can apply it directly. But just thought this would be faster. I'm using a strong glue here just because I want the wallpaper to stick down while I'm making the rest of the dollhouse. So this is my favorite fast grab. Usually I save it for structural things, but I really wanted it to work fast, so. And now for the downstairs wallpaper. After I get the wallpaper on, I can show you how to add the floor. That should be plenty of glue. And now for the downstairs wallpaper. I'm using a product called Worn Wallpaper. It's from Tim Holtz, and it's just perfect for a Halloween house. I distressed it a little bit. All right, so that is the wallpaper. It's easier to put in before you add the floor. So this is the divider between the floors, and I kind of distressed the ceiling for the first floor, and this will be covered with crackle paint flooring. So I measured, and it's supposed to go at 7.5 inches. So I need I think it's here. This is like my baseboard, and it's going to function as a divider, kind of a ledge for the floor to hold the floor up. This is the baseboard, the top one, and I'll put one underneath it as well. Drew a line. I'm going to try to line it up with the 7.5 inches because my height is 15 inches, so I want it to be halfway. Now I'm going to add a bead of glue to the back of my corrugated cardboard for the floor. Go over here and see how it's doing. Okay, that one's at 7.5. And all right, so now to help me hold it, I'm going to use some painter's tape, not masking. So this floor piece is just under 10 inches wide and 5 inches deep. It's just slightly less because I knew it was going to have to go on the background. Now the other thing you can do, hope I pulled it out enough. Sometimes the house splays out a little bit, so I put a piece of painter's tape. There, okay. Okay, that looks good. Now I'm going to add the ledge at the bottom. Make sure it fits. I cut it to, like I said, just under 10 inches. So I would make sure it would fit. And this is just corrugated cardboard that I've distressed. And I didn't worry about how neat it was. Again, it's a, you know, Halloween house. So there we go. Like that. I'm going to tilt it so I can see. Yes, that looks level. Okay, let's do the floor down here, down at the bottom. So this is my floor piece. And like I said, it's going to be covered with crackle paint flooring. So let me make sure all of this is down good. Okay, slide it in place, and I will need my painter's tape once again before it tips over. And one thing I did was I put masking tape all around the edge to make a smooth edge so you wouldn't see the corrugated cardboard. And I'll paint this, I'll kind of touch up these edges. But I'm going to let it dry now. And then we get to do the fun stuff, what I think is fun, which is putting in details like the siding and the flooring, and then the shingles and the trim on the top. Okay, let it dry and I'll be back. Now, let's add the flooring. I've got most of the wallpaper done. I actually ran out of wallpaper to do these walls, but I've ordered some more. So I had distressed these cardboard strips. It's a very thin, flexible cardboard with a little crackle paint and some brown on top. And now I'm going to install my flooring on my little haunted dollhouse. Cut it to size. I used 8.5 by 11. Let's see, slightly too big. Let's see if that works. Nope, still too big. Just trim it to size. All right. And I'm going to apply pretty thin my art glitter glue because it dries fast and it holds well for thin stuff. If you've got structural things that you have to press down or thick cardboard, it's not the best glue for that. But for, let's see, I have to tilt it, I'm sorry. Okay. And then I like the floor to not look so symmetrical, so I'm going to cut some of the pieces to look like the floorboards are staggered. And one thing I like to do is distress each edge. So I added a little black to that one. Yes, it takes time, but it's just kind of the fun stuff I like to do. Ready? Let's add some glue to this one. Alrighty, now let's kind of estimate the size of the next piece. Distress that edge. See if it fits. And it does. So that's how I'm going to install the floor. So isn't that a fun floor? And isn't it going to look great with my little bat bed? So anyway, I'll do the bottom floor the same way, and then we'll decorate the outside. Okay, now I'm going to show you how to do the siding. I basically did the siding just like I did floorboards. I used crackle paint and then just kind of distressed them. This shade is called Shaded Lilac, and it's kind of a light purple. I just thought it was good, a good color, and worked well with this purple door. I've glued the windows on the front anyway. This one is a real window. It goes through to the back. This is kind of a fake window. Remember, I didn't make all these cutouts because I wanted room for my furniture. So I put a little piece of gray cardstock behind it and just kind of painted a ghost on it. All right, so let's get started. I'll show you how to do the siding on one of the sides. And again, it's crackle paint. I've got a tutorial on making crackle paint, just using white glue with a contrasting color on the back and contrasting color. Then you apply white glue and then let it almost completely dry, and then apply your top coat color, and it'll make these great little cracks. Sometimes you have to play around with it, but I really like it. Now, to make the siding, I cut out, I did this on a piece of cardboard, lightweight cardboard, and I cut it in 1/2 inch strips. Now, for the strips, you can make them go all the way across, or you can make these breaks, so you kind of staggered your boards. I like to do that. I just think it's more visually interesting, and it's actually the way they really make houses, so that's what I like to do. And I distress each side just like I did with the floorboards, because that makes the divisions between the boards show up better. Okay, that's it for the siding. I've got all the siding done on the house. Now, let's do the front shingles. These, oh, I don't know. Sometimes they're called like fish scales shingles on the front of some Victorian houses. So that's what we're going to do. But first, I'm going to add some trim to the front, to the top of the house. Alrighty. I'm going to cut it there. So these are in your pattern, these shingles. So the first set sits right about here. Get my pencil so we can trim it. Trim it along the roof line. And we have to trim each one, each layer. This is better side. That's good. You want to stagger the shingles, so I put a point of this shingle with the tip of that shingle. So get our pencil, mark that here. These edges will be covered by the side shingles. So those are the shingles for the front. And somewhere I have a window frame for the front. Just used a little painter's tape to hold it while I turned the little house over, the little dollhouse over. And really all you do for the shingles on the side of the roof is you do it exactly the same way. These shingles are designed to overlap a little bit, so they go about a ½ inch on each side. In addition, I try to make the first level stronger because it can get bent. These little points can get bent. So this is 2 layers of cardboard. So the first one, I always double up. Even on my regular houses, I do that. There's a little point I need to trim. So you apply one, just like we did on the front. It's a little bit harder, just because of the angle. Put some here just to be sure. And I used about 10 rows on each side. Oh, I should do the trim at the top, the spires, the widow's walk thing. So that should probably go first so you don't forget it. And just like the first row of shingles, I double up on this because these spires are kind of fragile. They'll get bent if you just use one layer of cardboard. So I double up on my cardboard. Okay. And you try to stagger the shingles. They're actually designed so you can flip them. So one side, this one has a full scallop, then you flip it, and this one has a half scallop. It's just to make it a little easier for you to stagger the shingles, so they've got that cool design. So you can see how it goes. And on the front, I made a set of spires of these little fencing for the front that has this a little thinner. So you can just glue it like that. It's just easier. It doesn't show as much, so. Probably gonna have to use some tape to hold it. But anyway, I think you can see how to do, that's basically the whole structure of the dollhouse. Now, what I did on my first one was I added a base. I glued on some cardboard at the base so I could have like a little patio in the front. I don't know if I'm gonna do that in this one, so I haven't done it. But all you do is cut a piece of cardboard big enough to either have an extension out on the back or an extension on the front. So just another piece of cardboard. And that's really how you make your little haunted dollhouse. And I think it's really fun, and I know kids would really enjoy it. So anyway, that is it. So I hope you have fun making your little haunted dollhouse. Alrighty, y'all take care. Bye.